How's it hanging, everybody? Welcome back to Tag Team, Pokemon Trading Card Games premier podcasting duo. My name is Riley Hulbert, joined as always by my good friend, Mr. JW Kriewall. JW, how's it hanging today?
Hey, it's going really well, Riley. We got to dive into it, though, man. We got a lot of new stuff. They just released the packet for the 2027 Championship Series, including some changes to TCG, VGC, Unite, and Go. There's a lot coming up. So why don't you walk the listeners through what they're in store for here in this episode?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to start today by taking a look at some broken new cards that were revealed from the Storm Emeralda set, our Delta Stream set upcoming. We'll take a peek into the mailbag and see what all of you lovely listeners have left for us. And if you haven't, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and Spotify and leave a comment if you have something to say. Or if you don't, it still boosts the algorithm, folks. And then we'll round off by talking about the 2027 Championship Series. We got new locations. We got World Championship qualification invitations. We got updates to the other games. There's lots to hear about, folks, so you don't want to tune out today. I'm excited, GW. I don't know about you. To get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So we have some new card reveals. I know people may be wanting to hear about the leaks from the 30th anniversary. I don't know. Did you get a did you do the queue today for the 30th anniversary set?
I didn't even get pinged for that queue, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I didn't know what was happening, but I was in meetings all day, so it would have been tough.
I feel like the meetings are the perfect time.
Not when I'm like actively talking to people. It's not. Some of them are in person too. Not like just zooming it out and zoning out.
Yeah. That's tough. Yeah, I got into the queue a couple of times and then booted on a couple different machines. So unfortunately, It doesn't look like I will be getting the ETBs, which is sad because I was going into this set thinking I would love to rip a lot of product. The last set was fun. The last set that I ripped a lot of product for, like that I actively was like buying ETBs for and just like opening on the spot, was Crown Zenith. And that's already, 3 years old now at this point? Like that is a
Unk.
Yeah, it's an Unk set. It's a retro set, right? At this point.
Yeah, the retro builders have been clamoring for Crown Zenith format.
But I just like haven't opened a lot. And so I was really hoping to, if I got the Pokemon Center ETBs, I was actually going to make it a point of like opening those ETBs to have product, but unfortunately didn't get there. So hopefully our listeners had a little bit more luck, but I got booted out of the queue a couple times. It was pretty frustrating.
I feel like if Pokemon had any smarts, they would do something like they did with the 25th and just print the heck out of stuff. So eventually it'll end up on shelves, maybe not every single product, but eventually there'll be something you can grab.
Yeah. And I feel like they have done that 25th anniversary. I definitely remember maybe, towards the end of 151 when it was picking up hype, right?
Yeah.
When they had the like Blooming Waters collections, I was able to get some of those, but I'd love to find this set in stores. It'd be really fun.
I feel like it's always such a treat to find it like in a store too.
Well, to find a set that you like. I've been able to find a lot of Perfect Order, and that set is just horrible. It's just bad. It's no fun to rip. And obviously the chase card is not good. Like, let's just be, call a spade a spade. The full art Meowth, like that is not a good chase. And so that is just not doing it for me. I could maybe get behind Pitch Black. Pitch Black is somewhat interesting. I think the chases there are pretty good. But yeah, Perfect Order, I've been able to find a bunch of, and I'm not opening that anytime soon.
I feel like I see Pokemon cards in the most random places these days too. Like, I was at Ace Hardware a couple weeks ago, and there were Pokemon cards. Like, why are there Pokemon cards in Ace Hardware, and why are they like $7? Like, are they selling? I guess if they're stocking them.
I bought Pokemon cards. I bought a set of Crystal Guardians from a Dick's Sporting Goods.
Like that's like the opposite of sports. Like they're just selling them wherever. It's kind of funny.
That must have been like 10 years ago at this point. I still have the pull. I got a reverse Charizard. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I graded it. It got an 8. So it's like pretty good. Like I graded that, I don't know, must have been 5 years ago at this
PSA
point.
8 Dick. Let's go.
Anyway, let's get into it. We got some new cards from Japan: Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus, and Enamorus. These are, if we go on and start reading the abilities, they're all somewhat parallel, and they may remind you of the Regis, a very popular deck from a few years ago, where if you had a number of Regis in play, you had them all in play, one of every type, you could do you could cancel out some of the attack costs. So that's kind of the vibe that we're going for here from.
Well, it was more like you could accelerate, not you could, but yes.
Well, you could, yes. Okay, good clarification. You could cancel out by accelerating energy. Absolutely. So in this case, we are, in fact, ignoring the colorless energy and the attack costs. So for Thundurus, 120 HP basic Pokemon, ability Incarnate Union. If you have Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus, and Enamorus in play, so if you have all 4 genies in play, ignore all colorless energy and the cost of attacks used by this Pokemon. Does 90 damage
every time, folks.
Does 90 damage for an L, a C, and a C. So you could do it for just a lightning energy. 90 damage. Ignore all effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Enamorus, same ability.
Dang it.
But this is probably the worst one, I think. Let me read through.
Let's just read them as they lie right now and then judge the collection of them.
For Psychic, colorless, does 100 damage plus if your opponent's active is a Pokemon EX. This attack does 100 more damage. So max of 200 damage there. Landorus, 130 HP, fighting basic. Same ability. Fighting, colorless, Gaia Crush. 110 damage, discard a stadium in play. Seems pretty interesting. And then Tornadus with the same ability. You guessed it. Colorless on the attack, corkscrew dive, 70 damage. You may draw cards until you have 6 in hand. So, initial impressions, right? Here's how the archetype plays. You get a Tornadus out early with the other 3 genies, and then you're drawing, doing, decent damage, maybe setting up some knockouts, and then using the elemental typed Pokemon to swing for weakness. Fighting is, decently relevant. Lightning is,
I feel like fighting is always carried by hitting for weakness.
Exactly. And then Psychic, what? I don't know what Psychic is really hitting right now. But
yeah, I don't know.
That's the deck. Riley, any thoughts here?
So I appreciate them trying to do something interesting because the Regis were also very interesting. And I guess to be fair, the Regis were more difficult to get out because there are 6 of them as opposed to 4. And they take your whole bench, so you can't have any other support Pokemon. You have to go full in on the Regis to even make Regis work. But did they think they were cooking with this? Did they really think they were cooking with this one? The Tornadus, I could maybe see, right? The 70 damage and drop to 6 for free.
That's
not the worst.
There's something there, worst. Right? There's something.
Yeah, you can knock out Badoos, you can knock out evolving basics, you can draw some cards. Great, lovely, and it attacks for free. Lovely. Every other one of these is amongst the worst cards ever, especially the Enamorus.
Yes.
The Enamorus is unfathomably bad. The 2 colored energy on it to do 200 damage if your opponent's an EX. They could remove the second Psychic and make the bonus damage conditionless, just flat 200, and this card would still not be worth playing. Yeah. So why do they add these other layers to it?
Well, it feels like the senior developer created the Tornadus, and then the the intern.
Yeah, the
created
interns
Enamorous.
made the rest.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no. It's just tragic, man. I'm looking at this Enamorous card and I like can't fathom that they made this in good faith. Like this it's either purely just meant to be pack filler or they thought they were cooking and like need to be removed from the building, you know?
It's tough too, right? Because 200 is not enough to knock out
Anything, like a
EXs,
meow.
right? Like what am I thinking of that has
You could knock out the
200 or
Jirachi
less?
from last week.
Oh. Yeah, I see the interaction now. This is where Pokemon's headed. Sneak peek. It's turn 1, get your 4 genies in play, attach a psychic to the Enamorous. Turn 2, your opponent benches Jirachi EX, attaches an
Uses
energy,
the wish
puts it
maker.
active, draws up to 7. Your turn 2, you attach to an Enamorous again and do 200 to knock out the Jirachi. That's what's in our future.
The attached to Enamorous again is crazy. I can't. Yeah, you can crisp into it and then attach a second psychic that you had in hand. Let's go.
You could do that too. Yeah, that could work. So yeah, needless to say, this is a pretty underwhelming archetype. I'm not really sure quite what.
And like the Thunderous, what effects are you getting around with the Thunderous? You know?
You're getting around. Are you getting around? You're getting around Manectric.
Oh, so you get hardwalled by Manectric. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, you're getting around. It's obvious.
It's just like it's so crazy. It's like funny that they put this much effort in to make it this bad, you know?
Yep. I wonder how much the devs got paid on this one.
They get paid per
card produced.
per pack filler they pump out.
Yeah. So unfortunate. All right, but let's move on. That's just a. I don't want to say it's a waste. Maybe it won't be a waste. You really see kind of what the game designers are trying to do of like trying to make like one prize Pokemon, particularly basic one prize Pokemon, viable. This just isn't doing it for us. But that said, what is doing it for us is our commenters on YouTube and Spotify. Let's read some comments, dive into the mailbag, and get that going. We really appreciate everyone that interacts with the podcast via Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. So please, if
Let's
you
get to
haven't already,
2,000 likes on this video.
Yeah, we were really close last week. Didn't quite get to 2,000, but let's try again. So we had one comment here. This might actually be a really fun episode idea from Ryan Talmadge saying, getting into building decks for retro formats. Would love to know y'all's top 5 retro formats to build and play. And I actually think this might be a fun, because we've talked about retro formats in the past, but maybe make like a world's retro tier list. I think it might be kind of fun.
That would be fun. Yeah, I was thinking about that actually when we were brainstorming ideas the other week. So let's add that to our notepad.
Okay, sounds good. Make sure to do that. And then similarly, can you do a dad deck tier list?
What constitutes a dad deck? Is it like playing Matang before it's cool type stuff?
I mean,
like you give your kids the tier 1 decks, so you're playing like what's
exactly. Yeah, playing kind of the bulk builds.
Yeah.
So, let's see. There was Noah Schuler said, I hit 2K ELO with Mega Venusaur. JW, keep grinding. I made it to my highest was right about 1900. I think I was just
nice,
I was like 1890 or something with the Hydrapple deck. I ended with an 80% win rate, which I felt like was pretty good. I just couldn't get over the edge. I was testing Hydrapple a lot. I don't think you can consistently beat Dragapult. So I think I'm setting that I'm setting that deck down for Worlds, I think. But
I just got to say, when you hear someone say, I hit just about this elo, you just know they're rocking 1890 and not 1910. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's me for sure. So, DFam says, felt called out scrolling socials while listening to the pod while working from home while doing laundry. And then like for the treasure tracker. Unfortunately, we didn't get to 2K likes, so no treasure tracker giveaway. But I do appreciate the comment. All right, over to Spotify. Costco Boys Meat Canyon reaction video win.
Maybe at 2K likes. Who's to say?
Slight correction from Logan Adams here. Radiant Charizard was from the Pokemon Go set rather than the 25th celebration anniversary set. We were correct with that Flying Pikachu and the Mew, and the Kyogre, I think, was the other, kind of the third of the trio. Yeah, I totally missed there on the Radiant Charizard, so thanks for the clarity. And then Led Zeppelin is who you go to for classic rock, Andrew. He can't even defend himself. They're good, but what about the Eagles, Jimi Hendrix, AC/DC, Queen, Van Halen, Pink Floyd, Red Hot Chili Peppers? Well, this guy knows just like many bands. Can we just acknowledge that?
Yeah, he's ready when he gets asked like, oh, name 5 bands. He's got that. You like rock? Name 5 rock bands. He actually's got them ready.
He has. Yeah, and he's only 17. How about that?
Andrew kind of got cooked there. Sorry.
He did. Yep. By someone half his age. More than half, or less than half his age. In any case.
Yikes.
Let's hit the what's new in the 2027 Championship Series. There was a lot announced, actually. There was a lot, and there was a lot for our game. There was a lot for other games, but this was one of the more interesting season announcements that I can remember. It's not complete, right? They have announced some event locations. I think that's kind of the big thing that everyone wants to know every year before the start of the season, so they can plan out which events they want to go to, which events they want to skip, do they want to travel overseas, and generally just kind of build a list of events, especially if they're a Worlds grinder or someone that wants to put themselves in the conversation. We have what I would expect to be about half of those events from at least the North American perspective. Right. So we should be getting more. But then we also have, so we'll talk about those a bit. We'll talk about the updated tiebreaker. They codified some additional language for tiebreakers as it relates to the travel awards specifically, because that's what they had been doing in the past, was just giving that away to every person tied for, whatever that travel award cutoff was. That's a bit of an expensive. Yeah,
there's no way they can afford that. You gotta nix that for sure.
And then of course Unite and Go had some big shakeups here. So with that in mind, Riley, where do you want to start?
Let's start by talking about the other games, and then we can round out full TCG. Okay, so you don't have to tune out at the end here. Unite, I think, has probably the biggest news as it relates to its championship series. So for all my Unite heads listening to the Tag Team podcast, I'm sorry to let you know that the Pokemon Unite Championship Series will no longer be a part of the Championship Series in the 2027 season. I can't imagine a better way they could have wrote that sentence too. Like, really immaculate work there. If we could slip in one more use of the words Championship Series, that would be awesome.
It says there will
I guess it's in the title right above.
It is in the yeah, they do have it 3 times in, I don't know, the span of 40 pixels or something. There will be a standalone in-person Pokemon Unite event planned to take place in Japan with paid travel for qualified teams. So it's kind of like, is reading like it's a they're just breaking off into kind of a separate circuit But there's some complications there as well. Additional details, including qualification and travel support information, will be announced at a later date on the Pokemon Unite official site. And then they go to say, Play Pokemon would like to thank all the dedicated teams, competitors, and organizations in the Pokemon Unite community for the spirit and passion they have brought to battles around the world. So like that last line just reads like, hey, thanks for coming.
Farewell.
Yep. It's great to have you. And, we're killing support for this game from a, TPCI perspective. If someone else wants to bring that up, take the mantle of hosting Pokemon Unite events, and it sounds like there is this
you
other
can do grassroots if you want.
And it sounds like there is this other event planner, right? There's another tournament in Japan, but from TPCI's perspective, I don't think this was really anywhere close to being a moneymaker, or I don't think it quite hit the heights that they were hoping this game would reach from a viewership perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think it had a good run, to be honest. Like a couple of years for like a free to play MOBA game in a genre Pokemon has never even really touched with the MOBA genre is, I think, pretty reasonable. Like, I mean, how long did Pokken last? It lasted a couple years.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's a fine run. I was actually wondering recently because I was scrolling through my Switch, and this isn't a knock on Unite. I was scrolling through my Switch, and I saw the Unite icon in there, and I actually deleted the app because I hadn't played it in so long. And I was just wondering, like, how lively of a community Unite even has anymore. Like, it might have, I'm sure it has the diehards, right, who are playing it actively still, but does it have, like, a casual base? It was pretty popular when it came out. Like, I have to wager that it doesn't.
Well, it might. I mean, it's so let's kind of pick up some hints from what they've announced in this release. Is like they're gonna have what essentially amounts to like a season capping event in Japan. So that might clue me in on saying, okay, that's where the majority of the player base is. And so that maybe falls in line with what you're seeing, right? It's like, I don't think anytime that I've ever seen Unite discussed, it's either been from a Unite caster, so like just an overly positive, somebody like Doob Snacks, who I just follow on Twitter, or it's someone like something comes across my feed because they're complaining that they nerfed a character or ruined this game mode or something in Unite. Like it's either like something from an official caster who's trying to hype up an event or trying to hype up something, or it's someone complaining about it. So I think what you're talking about is like, is there a big player base? Yeah, from my perspective, like I don't see it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't.
Well, that's why I'm genuinely like earnestly asking, because I'm not in the spaces, I guess, where like I'm not in that community, the Unite community.
Yeah, and it's possible. Like I'm sure that they're MOBAs, from my understanding, are a bit more popular in Asian countries. And so, again, kind of inferring here from the release that there's going to be an event, an in-person event in Japan as kind of a replacement to, Worlds, right? You kind of think of it as a parallel. Maybe makes me think that, that's where the players are.
Yeah. They need to come out with Pokemon Auto Chess. That's the next genre.
I would actually love that. I would love that.
Everyone wants it. Everyone's been asking for it.
Because you get your guys and you evolve them up. Imagine evolving your guys up.
Yes, it's just the logical.
I don't know. It'd be so sick.
Like pathway,
One other thing that is interesting or important to note about the Unite Championship Series. Unite was present at all the ICs, and then they were also at Worlds. This, now that they're discontinued, or that the game has been discontinued from the official Championship Series for 2027 and beyond, they have this Japan tournament, but then all of their qualifiers are online only. So again,
Interesting.
Like another nail in the coffin, I suppose, right? If you read between the lines here, they went from, just having these hugely produced, at least IC level events to now just having one single event after online qualifiers. It's definitely a major prestige hit, and the Unite players and casters that I follow are all kind of like, yeah, it's kind of it for the game. Like the writing's on the wall here.
Yeah, I'm reading through the Reddit comments about the announcement on the Pokemon Unite subreddit, and a lot of people are like, Unite fell off. Very Reddit, right?
Yeah.
There's some interesting comments here, though. Like, as far as I know, Unite's most popular, at least in Japan, relatively speaking. And there's something about like visas, so like trying to keep the scene like within Japan and stuff like that too. Also, just a lot of stuff about like the game has kind of felt like they've been rushing through content and almost like trying to get it out before the game gets axed type of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're a Unite player. Hey, leave us a comment in the mailbag and leave a like on our path to 2K.
Absolutely. So let's shift gears now to Go. Pokemon Go World Championships updates. And this one is, I don't know which is more shocking.
This one might arguably be more shocking.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, dead game, right? Like, okay, we're removing it from the championship series. Like, that's sad, and
but we've seen that before.
Yeah, we've seen that before. But this is fascinating to me as a competitor, and I'll just read what Pokemon has released. Changes are coming to the 2027 Pokemon Go World Championships. The tournament will feature 3-on-3 team play with teams formed from the pool of qualified players. Again, this is at Worlds. Qualifications for Worlds for individual players is not changing. So players are still going to receive their invites based on their performances in the regionals and events in 2027. More information will be released at a later date. But it's fascinating. So let me just highlight this. The World Championships for Pokemon Go will feature 3-on-3 team play with teams formed from the pool of qualified players. So there's a lot of questions there. It's like, are the teams randomly formed? Why would you like? Why would you have teams at the World
with
Championships?
An individual player qualification system, mind you?
Yes. Why would you qualify players in one format and then have them play the most kind of, the most prestigious tournament, the most a tournament with the most at stake in a different format? How did this come to be? And is there any precedence for this? Like, this just seems so out of left field to, and I'm imagining, going to Worlds in TCG and teaming up, and get randomly pooled with 2 other players. It just seems like absurd.
If it's random, that's so crazy. But I almost feel like it's just as bad if it's not random too. Because like, imagine being the guy who like qualifies in your own merit, kind of a solo lone wolf in the community, and now like
gotta find a team, buddy.
Have people to pair up with. Like that's so. It's almost like they gotta have it either be random or have like a backstop for people. Also, I guess they have to give invites in a multiple of 3.
I was gonna say that too, right? Like, what if they give 22 invites or something? It's so like,
that's the thing, But just regardless of how you get paired up with the people, imagine just dominating every game that you play, and your stupid chud teammates just like lose constantly, and you get eliminated for no reason just because they changed the format.
It's horrible. I can't imagine for a competitive player. Well, I saw from Firestar, I followed him after the controversy of him throwing his headset. He was basically like, wow, this is, this shakeup is massive. Like, this is kind of the death of Pokemon Go. And yeah, it's hard to read this any other way. 3-on-3 team play, whether or not it's randomized or not, like that's just hard for a competitive game like this, I feel like, to recover from. Like, I'm not even sure what the organizers are thinking with this one.
I don't get it at all. Like Pokemon Go PvP is like strictly designed for a 1v1 environment, more or less, and so we can have multiple 1v1s taking place and like best of 3 situation. That seems weird. I see no way where this creates like a better, like higher integrity, more skill expressive format unless they radically change the PvP system itself to accommodate it.
So, okay, I guess I have a question. Is like, is it just, I don't even know how this, I'm just trying to think out loud, right? I'm reading through this now again and trying to think if this makes any sense. And it really doesn't. Like, I'm going to say it out loud and it's going to be like, that also doesn't make any sense in this. But what if it's like your individual record within a 3-on-3 context?
But what does that even mean?
Well, like you play.
Why even do that then?
I don't know. Dude. I don't know what the point of this is. I'm just trying to rationalize it, right? We have more information to come. Presumably there will be more clarity here on these things that we're asking, but maybe, it's not necessarily the team record. It's just the individual record that would advance you at Worlds. I don't know. It sounds so stupid.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on here.
That's crazy work. So sorry to the Pokemon Go heads. Your game.
Yep, sorry guys.
Your game also got killed. I will say they are doing a great job, a fantastic job opening the door for adding Pocket. They've
finally
they've removed all the chaff.
So we can add Pocket, which is
killed off Unite. They're nerfing heavily Pokemon Go, all to make way for Pokemon TCG Pocket. I would not be surprised if we saw an announcement at this year's Worlds.
Or maybe they're making room for Pokemon's new kart racing game at the next World Champion. Imagine that at this Worlds they announce like a Mario Kart but with Pokemon. And it will be featured at the next World Championship. Would you play that game? Would you play Mario Kart with Pokemon?
See, the problem with Mario Kart is like I could never min-max enough against my friends. Like I had friends that could like min-max effortlessly. It seemed effortless in Mario Kart, and I just could never get quite to that level. So yeah, it'd probably be pretty cool on just not participating in that.
You wouldn't want to like play Mario Kart, but you're Charizard and you're flying around and stuff.
I mean, it'd probably be cool for sure. Oh, okay, what if Pokemon had like a kind of a 2D fighting game, like one
strictly
Pokemon,
2D this time?
Well, like 2D plane, right? Something like a Tekken, for instance.
Yeah.
And like one Pokemon fights one other Pokemon in like a fighting.
Well, they did that.
What if they did that though?
I liked Pokken a lot. I thought it was a very fun game. I thought it was super duper fun. I actually would have preferred it slightly if it was strictly 2D instead of the arena part of it. You remember that? Yeah. But at least it was unique in that way. I feel like I'm trying to think what like genres Pokemon could copycat and just slap Pikachu on. And I think like the kart racer could be one.
Yeah, auto chess.
Auto chess could be one. Are there others that are out there?
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. Mailbag.
Let us know.
Leave a like while you're there.
Yep. All right, let's head into the more relevant for this audience part of the announcements. Let's take a look at the season calendar. Okay. We had 5 North American locations and obviously other locations around the globe. So I do want to highlight what we should expect to see from each region. Let's start with Latin America. Of course, we contextually, are more familiar with the North American events. So we'll certainly be highlighting that. But just for all our listeners across the world. Latin America, Recife. Recife.
Just going straight in, huh?
Recife regionals in October 3rd and 4th. The Puebla regionals, October 25th and 24th and 25th. The Buenos Aires special event, November 14th and 15th. The Pokemon Latin American International Championships, November 20th through the 22nd. The Merida Regional Championships, bringing that back, January 23rd and 24th. Santiago Regional Championships, February 27th and 28th. Rio de Janeiro Regional Championships, March 6th through 7th. Monterey, April 10th through 11th. The Lima Special Event, April 24th through 25th. The Porto Alegre Regional Championships, May 8th through 9th. So a solid lineup for our Latin American friends. Oceania got 4 events. I think this is comparable to what they got last year. But we have
like 4 or 5.
Yeah, we have Brisbane, and this is always like a debate because there are very quality players coming out of Australia, the Oceania region, Australia primarily, right? But that includes a few other countries. So it would be nice to see maybe more events in that zone. But we have 4 at least announced for this upcoming year. Brisbane, September 26th and 27th. Sydney, January 16th and 17th. Auckland, January 30th through 31st. And Melbourne, May 29th and 30th. In Europe, a lot of repeats in Europe for the 2027 season. Frankfurt, September 26th and 27th. Nice, October 17th through 18th. Gdansk, October 31st through November 1st. Stuttgart, I know that was pretty popular last year, November 28th through 29th. Birmingham, January 30th through the 31st. We, of course, have the Pokemon European International Championships returning to London, beautiful London, February 19th through 21st. Lisbon, April 10th through 11th. Prague, May 8th through 9th. Utrecht, May 22nd through 23rd. And the Bologna special event, June 5th through 6th. And finally, North America. 5 regionals have been announced at this point. Baltimore, 18th through the September 18th through 20th. Louisville, October 9th through 11th. The Las Vegas regionals, December 4th through 6th. Milwaukee regionals, April 16th through 18th. San Diego regionals, May 28th through 30th. And the Pokemon North American International Championships in June 18th through 20th. So, having read through that list, what are you most excited about? I feel like we were going to do something for at least the North American regionals. I'm eyeing up a few at this point.
A couple observations from the lineup. The North American Internationals, of course, moved to Chicago. I expressed how awesome I think that is. But the rest of the internationals have stayed pretty stable, it feels like, for a while now. You know, we have London for UIC, for example, has been the location for quite some time, basically since London Worlds, and Sao Paulo, I believe, for Latin America as well. It's weird that they don't label it like on the. You have to like go to the event details to see the locations. Mm-hmm. But I think conceptually what they're going for, and this also kind of ties into why they haven't had one in Oceania the last few years, is just getting the biggest, most accessible cities possible.
Yes.
In those regions. You know, Chicago is one of the largest, busiest airports in the entire world. They allege they're the busiest airport in the world. Actually, they played on the speakers every 15 dang minutes here in that airport. You know, London Heathrow, also one of the biggest airports in the world, extremely accessible. And Sao Paulo is also one of the largest and most accessible areas in South America. So I think that is the right choice for them logistically. Those are the cities that can both handle the type of event that they want the ICs to be, and are just like the simplest to get to. That applies to Pokemon Company for getting their equipment and streaming stuff out there, and that applies to the players for getting there too. I think I'm going to miss though the variety that we had in the earlier stages of international championships, though, where they moved kind of around the regions. That was fun to me. It doesn't mean there's not other ways to explore the countries that we're going to, with the regional championships feeling progressively more global as events. But that was something I liked about the early international championships. For me, some of the events that I'm excited about, and I'll be curious for your lineup too. I would love to go to Baltimore. Personally, my sister lives in Baltimore. It's an awesome city, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's the week after my wedding.
Yes.
So I probably will not be going. So that is what it is. But excited to see Pokemon return to Baltimore. Louisville, I don't know. I don't know if I've been to Louisville.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it cool? Is Louisville cool?
I'm not like a huge fan of like Kentucky, Tennessee, like that region of the country. It's fine. It just doesn't.
What about Nashville?
Yeah, I mean Nashville's fine, right? Like Knoxville is fine. I have been to Louisville. Like it's fine. It just like doesn't excite me in the way that something like Las Vegas would, or something like I don't know, Chicago does, right? It's just not a.
I'm very excited for Chicago. I think that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, I could maybe see myself going to Vegas. I don't think I've ever been to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that could be fun. Milwaukee, slam dunk. Going to Milwaukee, it's an hour away.
Yeah.
It'd be silly not to go. San Diego, I would also love to go to because I love the city of San Diego. It's like the most beautiful area in the U.S. in my opinion. And of course I'll be in Chicago. So a decent amount of these I feel.
Dude, so you're like kind of you're like kind of. I mean, and this is also
I'm
like
hedging
a pared
this.
down. Yeah. You're hedging this on
the formats
format
not being terrible.
I was just gonna say that. Yes. That's obviously a requisite, especially for you, right? But you have. I mean, Baltimore, of course, is going to be a stretch. But like Vegas for anyone is going to be relatively easy, especially if you fly out of Chicago. Milwaukee is going to be driving distance, and of course Chicago is going to be driving distance. So like realistically, you have a season next year, and this isn't even all of the events that have been published, right?
I was talking to Jill about I love conceptually the idea of having like another like busy Pokemon year, so to speak. Maybe not as busy as like 2021, 2022, where I was really going crazy with it.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of having another like really engaged year competitively.
Yeah.
I have to feel excited about the game enough to like want to practice, because if I'm not going to practice, I don't want to go and 100%. Like be a loser,
Yeah.
But
yeah, you got to give yourself a shot.
At least for me, I'm just a very competitive person. I go to these events with the intention of competing. So not feeling like I have a fighting chance is not an appealing prospect to me. So it has to be a format I'm excited enough to want to grind. And I think that's really the main prereq for me, honestly. This year was tough just because we, as like my fiance Jill and I, were just so busy. Like we got our house, we've been planning our wedding. But that's all gonna kind of settle down like around Baltimore.
Yeah.
So that kind of opens up this season coming up here.
Yeah, I mean that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be fun. This obviously again is very pared down. I'm going to be in Jersey for the next year at least, but looking at this lineup, if I don't top 4 worlds, I will likely, be at Baltimore. Because that's just, you go down, family can hang out, I'll play the event. It'll be pretty chill.
Yeah.
Vegas is probably a decent sell. Again, just depending on kind of.
Oh, actually, I can't do Vegas. I realized I can't do Vegas. I have a work thing.
Okay, Vegas is out. Milwaukee would be fun. Obviously, see the boys. Get up and maybe that could be something where I could, go. Like Andrew's probably going to do Milwaukee. He's already said. Jesse will probably do Milwaukee, right? So this might be another event where, a large contingent of our friend group might be in attendance. And then San Diego, I have never been. Seems very unlikely. Similarly for Louisville, that like seems pretty unlikely to go. But then the nice thing about the IC this year is that it actually doesn't fall on my wife's birthday weekend. So I think that this will also be a go. Realistically for next year, unless they announce like a New England regional, it's probably the minimum, number of majors for me. So something like, my season is probably shaping up to be Baltimore, something Vegas, Milwaukee, one of those, potentially EUIC, NAIC, and then one other event kind of, splattered in there wherever I can find time. So it's going to be, for next year, it's like, do I have my sights set on a Worlds invite? Like, yeah, of course I'm going to try to play my best and do what I can there. But I really don't have like, I'm not expecting anything, right? I'm just going to do kind of the bare minimum and see where we can go.
Well, hey, it paid off this year.
It did as the last invited player from
the least qualified world champion competitor.
It did pay off. Are there any events that you wish were on the schedule? It's so interesting to me that we don't get a full list because
they have to know.
They have to know at this point. Like, you can't book this stuff less than a year out, I think. I mean, I'm not an event planner, so maybe you can. But I'm not really sure what kind of clearance or approvals you're looking for, less than 6 months out. And so,
yeah, I don't know.
Regardless of that, what are the other locations that, you're hoping for or thinking that they will do? My thought, of course, is they've done, Toronto. That seems like an obvious one. That will probably be in that.
Yeah, there's no Canadian representation at all on here, either Vancouver or Toronto. There's no Texas tournament on here.
Yes.
That's a staple, I feel like. Those are probably like the most obvious missing pieces in my mind. There's maybe in theory like in Indianapolis or something like that is missing. I have to imagine there's probably a like 4 to 5 still missing.
Yeah.
That would get us up to like that 9-10 that I feel like we normally see. So I'm thinking like a Canadian, at least one Canadian, probably Toronto, again, like in that big accessible city vibe, probably like a San Antonio or Dallas or something like that. Maybe like another kind of Midwestern based tournament.
Yeah, Columbus or Indy. I've heard Columbus talk thrown around a little bit.
And maybe like one more like West Coast type one, like
Portland,
like Seattle or Portland. Yeah, like those sorts. Those would be my guesses for what's left. Honestly, Columbus would be cool. Like kind of like, hey, ICs used to be here, but now it's like this is where our regionals go.
I mean, it's a perfect size for a regional. I think that it hosted an IC, albeit when the ICs were a bit smaller. But yeah, Columbus would be very cool.
Yeah.
So
I think there's cool stuff going on here, and I'm excited to see what's left. I don't know why they can't just show us what contractual or logistical barriers prevent them from just sharing it all. But this is better than we used to get, right? We used to get nothing until like the day before the tournament happens. So it's chill.
Yeah, totally. So let's shift on over to some of the announcements for the qualifications. There are some, I don't think there are actually any best finish limit updates, at least for the TCG. There may be some for VGC that are not particularly relevant for this cast. But league challenges and league cups points stay largely the same. I don't think there's really any change there. And then you can have a best finish of 4 challenges and 4 cups. So that also stays the same. In regards to regionals, special events, and internats, the best finish limit is the best of 5. So we still run into, kind of that issue where it does make more sense for, a pay to win player to go to all of the ICs because they give out just proportionally more championship points. And that's, always going to be a problem. But I think trying to encourage, at least from Pokemon's perspective, players to get out to the ICs it is a pretty big deal, right?
At least Worlds players.
Yeah, Worlds level players, absolutely. So I think, for them changing the best finish limit on the ICs, to reward you to going to more ICs is probably, in the company's best interest, I would think. So that stays at 5. Is there anything I'm missing there from championships or best finish limit
no,
stuff?
I think that's all accurate on the best finish limit stuff. The thing I would say though is, with regards to the international versus regional stuff, because it's a shared best finish limit, it at least somewhat neutralizes. Like, worst case scenario would be like they have a best finish limit of say 3 or 4 for regionals and have a separate best finish limit of 3 for ICs. That just totally rewards. Pay to win type stuff. So like the shared best finish limit, I think, is a nice way to encourage the ICs, but still make it possible to equalize through regionals if you have good runs. So I think that's probably the best you could realistically ask for.
There is a CP change for the regionals and special events, and it's very minor, but it does bear discussing. Everything towards the top is the same. But then when you get down to the 257 place to 512, to top 512, you get an additional bump of 5 points. And then at the 1024, top 1024, you get an additional bump of 2 points. The thought, I think, here is to try to reduce the number of tiebreakers that they have for top finishers in each region. And so adding just a few extra points, there's probably an algorithm that they messed with. Adding just a few extra points here to these bottom placements probably skews enough that there's not kind of as clean of a cut towards the bottom of those top, X placements in each region for the Worlds qualifiers.
And I guess now that you're saying that, I think what that practically does is it means that if you get, that means a couple things. If you finish 512 twice, it's now better than finishing a 128 once. But I think more importantly, it makes it so if you finish top 1000 twice, it's no longer equal to, it's slightly worse. It's 1 CP worse than 1 512 finish. So I think you're right. It like separates out the points just that little bit, particularly at that bottom end where now you're getting less ties over time.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense in that way. And in theory they have the leaderboard data, like they could probably in some internal environment adjust like, okay, what if we did it this way? What if we did it this way? And see what the outcomes are.
Yep.
But to be honest, when I first saw this, I was like, in what universe is like this 2CP influencing the outcomes of anything in any meaningful way? I kind of still feel that way, but at least now I can maybe see the logic.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, whatever. I don't think it matters too much. There was some other changes to the top X in each region. We'll get to that in a second. Booster pack payouts are changing slightly as well. 3 whole booster boxes for top 32 and above if we reach kind of that maximum threshold.
That's a big asterisk on that.
Well, I don't know. It bears repeating. There is a slight increase in booster pack payouts across the board, which we've always been clamoring for, right? That's probably the easiest thing for the company to hand out. If they're handing out prizing like that versus handing out cash, it's just a much simpler process to hand out physical prizing. The other thing that was interesting about this was that we have no change to the, speaking of cash prizing, we have no changing to the cash prizing for our regionals and special events and internats. That's been something that, as these events have swelled, and especially kind of comparing, our game to maybe a game like Riftbound, perhaps, our pricing is lagging behind a bit. I feel like Again, compared to how big some of these
What
tournaments
is the Riftbound pricing?
Well, I think the big thing about Riftbound is that they are giving out like best of cards and special promos that are selling for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on their own, in addition to any sort of prizing that they're giving out for the actual placement. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I've certainly been seeing.
I mean, I feel like our cash prizing is better though, right?
I don't have the 1-to-1 comparison, but I think total comp I think is better for games like Riftbound at this point.
Yeah, it feels like a missed opportunity for Pokemon to have no regional promos. Yeah, I guess we technically do have the IC ones, but they're not as interesting either because they're not like flashy, unique arts. They're still cool, but the stamp isn't nearly as interesting as like a prize art.
Yeah, 100%. There was a change to the invitation structure. Want to make sure we hit that. So last year in US and Canada, it was 130, and in Europe, I suppose, it was 135. And so they've upped the number of invitations, top X, in the Masters division for USA, Canada, and Europe to 140. Latin America is now 125. Oceania, I believe this is the same from last year at 20, but they did increase for juniors and seniors up to 15 in Oceania. And then the Middle East and South Africa have a 5, 5, and 10 master limit there for championship invitation. So slight increase for most divisions in most regions, which bears talking about. The other kind of final piece of this is that they have adjusted the tie-breaking language. So in previous championship series seasons, tiebreakers for final leaderboard placements were determined by play points competitors had accumulated. We have talked in the past about what a broken system the play points a tiebreak is.
Yeah, it just is not meaningful.
It's just not meaningful. So starting with the 2027 Europe International Championships, ties for all, and this is specifically travel award language, but I have to imagine that this will also likely, or at least potentially extend onto like Worlds invites. But ties for all travel awards will be determined by finishing positions at previous regional and international championship events. And we can break this down here. So Pokemon TCG, video game, and Go competitors can qualify for travel awards to ICs based on their performance and standing in championship points in their home rating zone during the standalone qualification periods. Travel awards to ICs are based on championship points earned between the following dates. And then they talk about let's see.
Could they have written that language to be more confusing in that table? Like, why are they the day after? Just put a day. Just write a day.
They do know a day, right? They know a day at this point. They've released the.
Like, why do they have to make it so confusing?
Yeah. So here are the travel award tie breaks. In previous seasons, play points were used tiebreaker. Here are how the ties will be broken on the CP leaderboard. Highest finish at an international. So it says highest finish at an international if that finish is within the top 16. Highest finish at a regional if within the top 16. Highest finish at an international if within the top 64. Highest finish at a regional if within the top 64. Highest finish at an international regardless of rank. Highest finish at a regional regardless of rank. Players finishing as a semifinalist, quarterfinalist, or 9th through 16th place finish are considered to have the same finish as others of similar rank in that same event. So they're basically saying like, okay, someone with a top 4 finish at an international, if they're tied on CP, has a tiebreak award, has a tiebreak that rewards them versus a player that has, multiple other good finishes, but not that spike. Yeah. So it's rewarding that spike, which I think overall is a better system and a more responsible system than play points.
I think it's good, and I think it's appropriately nuanced too, because in my brain I was also wondering, like, would they intentionally, by like best recent finish, be introducing a system where like you're afraid to go to a tournament because if you bomb, like it tanks your finish. but because it has these tiers that it climbs the rungs, so to speak, before it gets down to just like arbitrary regional finish, like you're never disincentivized for playing.
Yeah.
It's always based on your highest recent finish as opposed to like whatever your most recent finish was. So I think that's cool. This seems like a really well designed tiebreaker system to me.
Yeah, it's definitely better than play points, right? Play points are just that was the fact that we had play points. It was just an afterthought, but then it obviously came up the last couple of years with Worlds competitors, and being nervous about that, having the invitation.
Whoever those people may be.
Yeah, whoever happened to be on that bubble. But this is just very objective and very clear, right? And there's enough here, right? There's enough different tiebreakers that
you'll always have.
You're gonna have a finish. Yeah, exactly. So I think that just about covers it for
it's a lot of cool stuff. You know, it's fundamentally next season is going to be very similar to this season for TCG players. Maybe not if you're a Unite or Go player.
Well, definitely if you're not a Unite player.
This will be very similar overall structure. You know, the total number of competitors is going up slightly for Worlds. The CP is very, very slightly tweaked, not in a way that I think will probably meaningfully impact your invite status.
Yeah.
And so really it's just, you know, go play your heart out. The top X will make it. And I think there's plenty going on in these tournaments throughout the year to still enjoy the process, regardless of the Worlds.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think for next season, 5 would be, I think, a stretch to go to. I would love to do it. Realistically, it's probably just an ace trainer season for me next year. But anything's possible, I suppose.
Anything's possible.
I really want to see a Northeast regional return. I want a Secaucus, a Boston, a Hartford, right? Return.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they have just neglected that part of the country for quite a while now. I think the last Northeast regional was Secaucus, right? 2021 or something. I'm forgetting specifics, but it's been quite a while since they've had a regional this way. Would love to see that. Any other locations that you like wish they were doing? We kind of walked through like what we think they will do, but I mean, obviously a Madison regional.
I feel like they have a pretty good slate. You know, maybe a Florida tournament, I guess.
Yeah.
Here, I have a question for you though. Like, where do you think / where do you want? Maybe there are two different answers. The World Championship to be.
Dude, I mean, Japan would be awesome.
Back to Japan.
Like obviously they can't do it in Paris. I think that would be a really fun location, but they can't do it in Paris. I think for like the gambling laws, right? At some point, like Asia would be really interesting. Obviously Japan is in Asia, but I'm thinking more of
like China.
Yeah, China. Like imagine a Beijing Worlds. I think there are some.
That would be awesome.
Complications there. I would be a bit conflicted on that, but overall, it would be very interesting. And then, realistically, where is it going to be? Like, you got to think somewhere in North America, right? It seems like they're starting to recycle some of their old.
Back to Boston.
Boston.
Maybe that's the Northeast tournament.
Dude, Boston, DC. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that for sure.
Makes you think.
Makes you think. All right. Well.
Yeah, I feel like they announced the 2 in advance, and then we still don't know what it is. So whatever.
I'm not even going to be around to experience it. I'm actually leaving Saturday night from Worlds. Because
you can watch it on your screen. You don't need.
At home. I'll be at home by that point. Actually, yeah, so I could just watch it. That is one of the
TV.
That is one of the highlights, I think, and it would be really fun to watch the Worlds announcement from the arena. I'm disappointed that I am going to miss out on the arena experience, but I'm actually taking that whole week and going out to California. I don't know if I
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I said the whole lineup for me on Surrounding Worlds, but I have some family out in California that they have always visited our family in Michigan because our grandparents, my grandparents lived in Michigan, and so they would always come out like once every summer or once every other summer and visit. So I never went out to California. So I said, hey, this would be a really great opportunity. I'm going to fly into San Francisco early in the week and then drive down and spend a couple of days down in a town called San Luis Obispo, which is like on the water, I think, and between San Francisco and LA, about halfway, like a 3 or 4 hour drive. Spend a couple days down there and then come back up on, I think, Tuesday and play the tournament Friday. Hopefully everything goes to plan and I, have to rebook a flight for Sunday, but
yeah,
coming back late Saturday, more than likely. So
yeah, I ultimately decided not to go just because it's so close to the wedding and it made more sense just to be home for that time period. But I'm not bummed because I'm really excited for what I'm doing with that time instead.
Yeah.
But it would have been a really nice location to visit for me. I have a lot of friends who live in like the Northern California area, like the Bay Area. So being able to like turn it into a whole thing and spend time with them and go to the Pokemon XP and Worlds. And, if I was going, I would have bought those stadium tickets. That would have been sick. So I'm a little bummed about that just from like the FOMO of it all.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to at least
it's
be
great.
able to...
I'm even more excited to get married. So
as you should be, bro. As you should be.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Very cool. Well, that's going to do it for us today, you guys. Please make sure if you're on a platform like Spotify, like YouTube, that you are engaging with the content. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment. That all helps us. We're not charging you. We don't charge you anything here on this podcast. We have made it free for years. So this is the easiest way that you can support what we do on Tag Team. If you want to get more plugged into us, you can go find us over on x.com at RealJohnWalter for myself, at Smiles with Riles for Riley, and at Tag Team Pokemon for the podcast.
Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.